Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of BigFoot Girl Talks. I'm Amy Mercury, the Bigfoot Girl as it were, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Smallfoot. Smallfoot is an animated film that I think has been largely slept on by general audiences, and it's a shame because it's actually this really cute film that's way deeper than it seems on the surface and incredibly well animated. So let me give you a general synopsis of the storyline. Smallfoot is about these Yetis living up in the Himalayas, and they have this tiny little, close-knit community, and they are basically kind of oblivious to the world outside of them. They have, they're surrounded on the mountain by a bunch of clouds that block everything out, so they pretty much assume that there's nothing else out there but themselves. The leader of these Yetis is referred to as the Stone Keeper, and he's kind of like the village chieftain, if you will, and he wears a robe of these stones with little carvings on them, and each stone represents another rule, another lesson about life for the Yetis and how they're supposed to live. And the stones dictate that there is nothing else out there, just the Yetis living on top of the mountain, they believe that their little mountain floats atop these clouds and rides on the back of a woolly mammoth. Okay, they're Yetis, give them a break. That's about as good as their science gets. So we have our main character, Migo, who is about to inherit the job of the gong ringer, and it's the gong ringer's responsibility to hit the gong, and that will wake up the sun, which will then rise over the mountaintop. And Migo's father, played by Danny DeVito, and who doesn't love Danny DeVito, is teaching Migo how to ring the gong. And to do this, you apparently put yourself in this big slingshot, and it propels you over into the gong, and you hit it with your head. But Migo is far too busy looking down below him, checking out our leading female character, Michi, and gets so distracted he doesn't aim right and ends up soaring across the mountaintop. And while he's there, he happens to catch a plane crashing into the Himalayas and a man that gets out of it. So Migo then sees this man and realizes, OMG, this is a Smallfoot. Title drop, i.e. a human. And that's when we start to learn that apparently, just like we humans tend to think of Yetis and Sasquatch as mythical, the Yetis tend to think of humans as mythical as well, calling them small feet. But just as Migo is about to bring back this human to show that small feet exist, his parachute gets a gust of wind and he goes over the mountain, and through a series of events there's a bit of an avalanche and the plane goes along with it. So of course none of the other Yetis actually believe him. They all think he's crazy, except for one small group of Yetis who kind of pull him aside, and they refer to themselves as the SES, which stands for Smallfoot Exists, Suckers. Okay, actually no, that's just a quote from the movie. That's not what it stands for. It stands for the Smallfoot Evidentiary Society, run by no other than Michi, Migo's crush, and also the Stone Bearer's daughter. Ooh. So they believe Smallfoot exists, and they believe that Smallfoot must be somewhere underneath all of these clouds. Migo, as everybody's kind of mad at him for, and they think he's acting kind of crazy, has been kind of banished from the town. So he decides to go down below the clouds with the aid of his new friends in the SES to find a Smallfoot and bring him back to show everybody. On the other side of the story, we have our other main character, known as Percy Patterson, played by James Corden. And Percy Patterson is this host of an animal documentary series that has apparently been failing in recent years. So in this last-ditch effort to save his dying show, he wants to capture a Yeti on film up here in the Himalayas. But, of course, since he, assumes that Yetis aren't real, he goes out and buys a costume, hoping to get one of the other crew members of the show to wear it, and he could document it and hopefully get some better ratings. But, of course, his coworkers are totally not into this. But he stumbles outside one day just as he happens to find Migo looking for a Smallfoot, and the two of them find one another, and that is where the story really begins. I really like it because it's this sort of funny juxtaposition of the human world seeing Yetis and Sasquatches as being mythical, but then the Sasquatches conversely thinking that humans are mythical, and how they deal with that. As far as like animation quality, the show it's excellent. Really, like the way they animate the hair of all the Yetis is just fabulous. It's like an hour and a half long Vidal Sassoon commercial. There's a lot of funny little references in the film. For example, we talked about how one of the stones say that their Yeti's world rides on the back of a woolly mammoth. Well, you overhear kind of a conversation in the movie about somebody asking, well, do you really think that we ride on the back of a woolly mammoth? Because what is under the mammoth? To which Migo quickly steps in and says, no, it's just mammoths all the way down. Which is actually a reference to Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time, in which he talks, I believe in the first chapter, about a famous astronomer who was talking about the universe. And some old lady comes up to him and she says, well, young man, I listened to your lecture and I just don't agree with you. I think that the world sits on the back of a tortoise. And the astronomer says, well, how can that make sense, ma'am? Pardon me for asking, but what's below the tortoise? And the lady said, oh, you think you're so smart. It's just tortoises all the way down. Funny little moments like that, if you're not really paying attention, might kind of go over your head, but if you watch it again, it's really entertaining. The music in it, I think, is really catchy. I feel like some of the songs I just kind of find myself, singing now and then, at home, in the shower, out at the store. It's kind of awkward. Also, props for having one of the songs in the movie be a rap. The Stonebearer character is played by American rap artist Common, and having a rap, I don't think I've ever seen that in a musical, animated or otherwise, at least not a good one. And it's actually a really great song, and I don't want to give you much more information than that because it is serious spoilers. It's a rather pivotal point in the storyline. But trust me, it's kind of interesting and a little bit refreshing twist from the rest of the storyline. I also really like what they did with color in the movie. You'd think, like, being up in the Himalayas, it's all basically just snow and gray and snow and white and gray, but they are really clever with how they use color in it to still make everything seem very vibrant, even down to giving each of the Yetis a slightly different tone, like a slightly different hue in their hair, so they all look a little bit different while still looking like more or less the same species. Also, their use of lighting in it is very nice. Like, you can tell a big difference between when things are happy and fun versus when things are kind of dour and sad in the story, or when they put a red hue on things, when things get a little bit passionate. It really is a nice use of color to set the mood. Honestly, I'm having a really hard time finding things I didn't like about the movie. Then again, I'm not a harsh critic anyway. I just enjoy animated films. I will pick an animated film over a live-action film almost any day. But, I mean, really, it's just this fun story. It's so cute. The dialogue's great. The music's great. I guess if I had anything bad to say about it would be that sometimes the references are obscure enough that they might go over a lot of audiences' heads. But I don't even really think that is a bad thing. I think that's just little artistic licenses that every creator wants to put into their stories just to see who gets it. So I have really nothing bad to say about the film. I've heard some critics say that they thought the music was kind of boring, but I don't agree. I think it was fun. I've had some critics say that they thought it was kind of predictable, but, really when we get down to it, like, aren't most movies kind of predictable these days? I mean, for a kid watching this is not going to be predictable. For an adult kid like myself, it's not going to be predictable. It's just going to be fun. So if you're looking for a fun, cute, family-friendly movie that you can watch while stuck in quarantine, give Smallfoot a try. You can rent or buy it on Amazon Prime or on YouTube right now. And if you do, I hope you guys love it, and please say something about it down in the comments. Tell us how much you enjoyed it. And I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching today. If you like this channel, please smash the like button, hit subscribe, and of course that little bell there in the corner, so that way you can get updates whenever a new awesome video is posted. I'd like to thank Quinn for letting me do another BigFoot Girl Talks on her channel. I have so much fun doing these. And if you want to see more of me, you can find me at Orc Girl Comic on Twitter. You can check out my comic or out on orcgirl.com. I love writing about monster romances, whether it's Bigfoot or orcs or any sort of monstrous character, and you can check me out, follow along in all of my adventures. But once again, guys, thanks so much for being here today, and I will see you again soon.